Donald Trump has become one of the most controversial presidents in U.S. history. He first announced his candidacy for President of the United States in 2015.
I am officially running for President of the United States,
pulling off an upset against the Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. Now, his first term wasn't as controversial as his second due to the fact that many in his administration were able to restrain some of his authoritarian tendencies. Fast forward to 2020, and Trump announced he was running for re-election. On the Democratic side, former Vice President Joe Biden would become the Democratic nominee for his party. In November, the 2020 presidential election was underway, with Biden able to win every battleground state and being able to flip Georgia. However, Trump was not happy and filed lawsuits in all the battleground states, with all but one getting thrown out. Trump claims to this day that the Democrats rigged the election in Joe Biden's favor, but still has not provided any evidence that it was stolen.
He's in charge of the election and the millions of ballots. So if I'm up like millions of votes, he can rig the election. He can rig the election. And I'll tell you what, whether it's in North Carolina, whether it's in Michigan, whether it's in other states where they're going to be sending out 80 million ballots. And it's Democrats. They're trying to rig this election. And every single place in the last year and a half, go modern day, forget about tiny amounts, a congressional race in New York, a small number of votes. If you go to New Jersey, if you go to Virginia, if you go to Pennsylvania, if you go to California, look at some of these races.
Now let's go to 2024, where Donald Trump defeated Vice President Kamala Harris to win a second non-consecutive term in office. This is the first time that this has happened since the 1800s. With Donald Trump back in office, things have become more chaotic, with his party controlling both chambers of Congress and with a conservative majority in the Supreme Court. Because of Trump's influence, the Republican Party has been leaning towards the far right, with some becoming loyalists out of fear of being primaried and voted out of office. But what if somebody like Trump ran as a Democrat and was the far left equivalent of him? Somebody that uses dehumanizing rhetoric against their fellow Democrats for disagreeing with them, calling them dinos, Democrat in name only, and turning Democratic voters against them to where they get voted out and replaced with a far left Democrat. And as for Republicans, this person can use similar rhetoric that Trump is using by calling them radical right fascists. Now, Trump is ineligible for a third term, but let's say that another MAGA Republican becomes the Republican nominee and the far left Democrat becomes the Democratic nominee. A lot of people would say that they would vote for neither party and instead they would vote for a third party. There's a problem with that though. The two parties also have control over the media. I'm talking about Fox News and MSNBC. Take for example Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Before becoming Trump's Secretary of Health and Human Services. RFK Jr. would run as an independent after the DNC announced that they would not be holding any primary debates.
I'm here to declare myself an independent candidate.
During his time running as an independent, both Fox News, most notably Sean Hannity, accused RFK Jr. of being a radical leftist and MSNBC calling him a spoiler candidate. The DNC took it one step further and filed lawsuits against him in multiple states to try to keep him off the ballot.
The North Carolina Democratic Party is suing the State Board of Elections.
Yeah, the party wants the state to take the We the People Party and its candidate for president, Robert Kennedy Jr., off of the November ballot. The Democrats claim that Kennedy circumvented the law by coming up with the We the People Party so he would not have to get as many signatures to get on the ballot. Well, last week, that same elections board certified We the People and said that RFK Jr. could actually appear on the ballot. At the same time, the board rejected a similar petition by the Justice for All Party and its presidential candidate, Dr. Cornel West.
In the end, RFK Jr. ended up dropping out of the race and endorsing Trump. Even if a third-party candidate does poll high enough and gets on the ballot in all 50 states and D.C., there's one other problem. One of the candidates would need to get at least 270 electoral votes because if no candidate does, the Constitution says the vote goes to Congress. And if you look at Congress today, everybody in the House of Representatives is either a Republican or a Democrat. The Senate also is full of Republicans and Democrats, with two being independents, that being Bernie Sanders and Angus King. That means that even if the third-party candidate got more electoral votes but failed to reach 270, Democrats and Republicans would most likely vote along party lines, voting for their party's nominee. This could cause outrage and civil unrest, but there's little anybody can do about it. Congress would most likely certify the electoral votes and go against the will of the people. So whatever party has control of Congress will likely vote for their party's nominee, and an authoritarian could be sworn in as the next president. The question is, would the next president be far right or far left? If you like this video and want to see more, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I'm Silence Doe Good, and I'll see you next time.